Citizens, how's your spirit? Welcome to the community. I'm JP, the aspiring matriarch, and this is where we unpack our black. So, what does that include? That includes talking about things that are um, important to us as individuals, as a black community, as Americans, and how all of those things affect us in our daily lives and how we move so that we are in control and thriving versus just surviving in this life. Um, so before we get started, really, and as we wait for some folks to come in, I need to do a little bit of housekeeping. Let me grab fella real quick. Um, I want to give folks time to get in before I do anything. So one of the things that I'll do is just go ahead and let y'all know what the theme song of today is. So today's theme song is Po Folks by Nappy Roots featuring Anthony Hamilton. Because, all my life I've been black. And all my life I've looked to my people to support first, either to give support or to look for and search for support. Now I look out today, and I think that's a little bit more difficult, right? Our people seem to not look to each other or anybody for support or comfort. They try to take on the world alone, try to fight by themselves, and that's a no-win situation almost all the time. You lose a part of yourself in the end. And so, just keeping in mind that there are other folks out here who can do this a little bit different, who can help you to get along, take some of the weight off, take some of the burden off. That's the important thing, more than anything else. So, yeah. Shout out to Nappy Roots and Anthony Hamilton. I love Anthony Hamilton. It just touches you in your soul, right? Again, this is Saturday morning, kicking it, trying to get started with your day, clean up the house, go and do a few things, cook breakfast, spend time with your kids. That's what I used to do, and so that's kind of what I'm hoping that you all are doing this morning, you know. And since that's what I'm hoping you all are doing, I'm here to talk to you about it. Good morning, Trash Can Waves. I am so glad to see you. I feel your spirit on the weary part. I have been struggling this week. Truly, truly. I'm so thankful that the weather is finally broken. Like I said in one of the theme songs, if you see an abundance of clouds in the sky and they are dark and gray, I am probably somewhere sitting in dark and gray and in pain. Having you guys out there, though, has made it better. Truly, truly. I got some emails. I got some theme songs, which I thought was fantastic. Just knowing that you guys are out there and care and support is amazing, and that's off of a couple of videos and me just saying a couple of words on a live stream. I'm thankful for that every day. Truly. It gave me reason to get up and keep trying. I had to be fussed at to sit down and take care of myself. But by the end of, I say Tuesday, I guess, the pain was coming in waves over my body and I couldn't control it. I When the pain is really intense, you tend to lash out at people unexpectedly, unintentionally. It's just you can't control things anymore. And one of the things that I'm going to explain to you throughout any of these videos is that everything that you do has to be purposeful, right? I survive this pain because I'm purposeful. I make the choice all the time to, even in the midst of my pain, see the person across from me and try to understand that they may be going through something similar that I cannot see. So I cannot just jump to the conclusion that they are out to attack me, or even if their words are painful, that they really meant to harm me. even if their actions are painful, did they really mean to harm me? Sometimes we can see someone who is broken and we can love that person no matter what, right? And they'll test it. How far can they push you before you leave? And it's a part of human nature, you know. You want me to put my faith and trust in you, but I've seen everybody who's come before you leave, right? So I'm going to do everything that I can. Not intentionally. I promise you they don't mean to. No one means to, right? But it's not an intentional thing, but they're going to push the boundaries, right? Every time you stand on a premise or a purpose, they're going to test it. And you're going to have to stand firm in what it is that you're saying and also in your promise to not just walk away, in your promise to be there, right? That's accountability. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But I just wanted to, make that point. A lot of times, one of my neighbors, I asked her to follow my channel. It's not a black woman. I asked her to follow my channel because even though I'm speaking to the black community, everything that I say is something that anyone can use, take into, put into action in their own lives and make changes, positive changes, right? I live with, excuse me for a moment. I should get a straw so I could be like those cute girls who sip and all that. I'm not, y'all. I'm cute and comfortable all the time these days. It's just the philosophy of my life. But anyway, um, everything that I say is something that anyone can use, right? Good morning, Lady C. So glad to see you in here. It's it is a grand rising. It was a beautiful sunrise this morning. I wish I could have gotten a hold of it, but I was trying to get myself together to get here. Ooh, mercy, they got this AC on. Let me turn my heater on before this body freezes. Okay. Blind guy, his wife, their life. I am so glad to see you guys. I wish I could have been there this week, but I'm hanging on, y'all. I'm doing it. We're gonna do this today. I'm gonna stay here for as long as I can. I'll be back tomorrow. It's one of the things that we're gonna talk about in housekeeping here in just a second. Uh, Lady C, that's all I can do, honey. A long time ago, I started telling people, I don't have the energy to lie to you. I don't have the energy to fake it till I make it. This it takes a lot of work just to keep this body going, right? Just to keep my mental state in a place where I cannot take it out on other people. And that gets complicated. That gets very, very difficult to see, to do in action. And then people question you about it when you do it right, because they don't understand that idea. People don't understand the idea of standing on your principles or the idea of staying. You hurt me, but I'm still going to stay, right? you know. Despite all of the things that you've done, I'm going to stay. And so let's get into a little bit of housekeeping in that regard. I told you guys I received some emails and theme songs and things like that. One of the subscribers, one of you citizens sent me an email to let me know that you had been offended by another citizen in the comments of a live stream, I believe. I'm not going to mention either of you by name. This is the first time, so we're just going to talk about it for a second, y'all. I'm not asking anybody to move exactly like I move, but I'm asking for a bit of grace and compassion over here, right? And it was totally out of defense of me. Something was said, and the person felt as though I was being offended or I was being disrespected. And I appreciate coming to my defense and aid like that. I truly do. I tell people all the time, I don't understand this whole black women aren't respected, da 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 da. I am. I'm protected. I'm respected. But it's because it's what I put out there in the world and what I get back. And what I try to make sure other people do. So, guys, I just ask that um, before you take offense to what anybody says, just question it. You know, if you didn't like what was said, state that. Don't talk about someone's mother. Don't talk about someone. You know, don't pick on the small things. There are going to be people all over this internet who are going to pick me apart for my looks, for my being more compassionate. They're going to call me a pick me or whatever the case may be. I'm prepared for that. And as citizens, I need you to be prepared for that too, right? Part of being in this world but not of this world is having a thick skin, is being able to be who you are, stand on your values and principles, and not hold others to your standard of your own living, right? There should be a standard, but no standard of, you can't force someone else to live by your standard, right? And you can tell them that there are things that are unacceptable and so on, but you cannot force them to live that way because you have no control over someone else's behavior, only your own. Trash can ways, hit dogs will bark. That's all I'm going to say. So, anyway, you all are hilarious. Listen, listen, trash can waves. I don't mind what people call me. People have called me all kinds of things. Over the years, I have been called fat. I've been called a man. Hell, the lead attorney still calls me a dude. It doesn't faze me because these people don't move my life, right? And that's the thing. I'm going to say two things, and they're going to sound as though they are the exact opposite in the end. Um, I'm with you, blind guy, his wife, their life. When I was growing up, you couldn't say nothing about nobody's mama. That would get you popped in your mouth, right? Unless you were my mama. My mama was different. My mother would play the dozens with us and then end it with a yo mama joke. Where do you go from there? Nowhere. Right. So I just kind of, but you don't talk about people. I think it's low hanging fruit. And I understand that it was done from a place of love. And so that I appreciate that love, but we have to move better in how we approach situations. And I try to lead by example. I saw the same comment, and at first I was like, oh, that seemed a little bit harsh. But I just waited, you know. I made a neutral comment in response and then waited for the statement that came afterwards. And that's what we have to do sometimes. We have to give a person space to explain themselves. We can't immediately assume that they're disrespecting us. We can immediately assume that they dislike us. You understand? We can immediately assume that we understand what it is they're saying. There has to be some clarity in our words. And that doesn't always happen. And I try to do my best to be clear and give people room to be clear. So, good morning, Adrian Nash. Are you going to cam up for your matriarch, or do I have to be Frank Goodin in order to get that privilege? I mean, I'm not trying to call nobody out first thing on a Saturday morning, but I'm just saying I would love to see your smiling face, and I never am around or on a stream when you're there, and unfortunately, a sister can't always go back and catch up, but I would really love to have you up here at some point. It doesn't have to be today, but soon. Um, Trash can ways. You all are a mess. I don't know what I'm gonna do with you people. I appreciate you all so much, though. I really do. I didn't say you bit. You nipped a little bit. You didn't break the skin, and so we're gonna let it slide this time. But I would appreciate. No, I'm just kidding. Like I said, I'm not gonna call anybody out, and I won't even let trash can waves do that to themselves. Oh yeah, I heard she was camming up for Frank Blind Guy, his wife, their life. I can't say for certain, but it is something that I heard. Did. Okay, so we have talked about respecting the community, right? I want to let you guys know that my schedule moving forward, at least for the next little bit, um, I intend to stream Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I can seem to get that in, and then my body needs a break. Also, I want to be able to be involved in other people's streams and chats. And Blind Guy, his wife, their life, I owe them more than words could ever imagine, just for being out there and poking me silently and shouting me out publicly. So I certainly want to catch their lives, and me being live at that time would just be rude, you know. And so yeah, that's an easy one. The Find Your Theme songs will be going back up, but I think that I'm going to move them to um, another social media platform first, and then bring them back to YouTube. Each of you in here right now, I love and appreciate very much. The majority of my audience at the moment, though, is my peers, Gen Xers. And I love y'all to death, but you all aren't really who I want to talk to. We all kind of have a similar feeling in life, right, about these things. We all feel like it's time for our people to start doing better, for our community to start moving forward, and to see our children, our village grow so that our children can have a better future. And in order for me to do that, yes, you are an ankle biter, but we love you because we can see them little waves as we go along. But in order to move our community forward, I need to have a conversation with you all. Thank you very much, Blind Guy, his wife, their life. Also, I sent you all an email just to talk about Discord. I think that it would be a good place for us to be able to do some of the more in-depth behind the scenes back and forth collaborating and speaking, where some of it can be out on our streams and in our videos. It does kind of take away from the flow of things, so some of the background stuff could be done there. Plus, again, like I said, moving to the other side, I want to be able to talk to the younger folks, right? And they are on Discord, they are on Twitch, they are on TikTok. And so some of my content will be over there. I will be starting a gaming channel. Anybody who wants to come over there, come on over. When I'm not, the days that I'm not streaming for this, I can do that because I can just sit there and be ridiculous. I haven't mashed a button since, I don't know, about 20 something years ago, other just in trying to figure it out. So it's going to be ridiculously entertaining because I'm already ridiculous. Can you imagine me with a controller in my hand? Stop playing. Um, Yes, Lady C, I was just doing some housekeeping discussions about how we approach each other in the community, and some things that may have been said earlier on that were meant to defend me, but that were certainly wasn't done in the most positive or compassionate kind of way. Um, so it's just something to consider. Excuse me, y'all. I just feel like there's all kinds of dryness on these little brown lips, and they can't take that. I'm so sorry. Um, Thank you so much, y'all. I'm doing the best that I can. It's hard sometimes though. Like, I look at some of the other creators who I know started around a similar time as me, and they're moving forward faster. Um, but they're not. They don't have all the same things that I have going on, and I have to keep that in mind. And that's hard sometimes as a creator, as a go getter, as someone who wants to achieve, overachieve, lead by example. But I'm doing my best. I'm putting out as much as I can, and sharing as much of me with you as I can at the same time. I think that that's important. I think the thing that will help me to stand out, even if I don't have a whole lot of content, is that all of it comes truly from my heart and my desire to see us do better as a people. Um, their stream relaxes me for the truth. You know, they allow me just to be me over there. I don't have to worry about making sure that I speak to a whole bunch of folks and get everything situated. But I get that, Adrian. I had that problem too when I try to watch things from my phone, and it's so hard to be able to respond because you can't. The at on the laptop, it comes right up for you if you add and put in the first couple of letters of someone's tag, but in this case it doesn't, and it makes it difficult. So I certainly understand that. Excuse me. Um, would you please leave that woman alone? Why are you harassing people this early in the morning? Trash can wave. You the one I got to put in the corner. Speaking of food this morning, let's talk about it. Have y'all had your fruits and vegetables? I have. I got them right here too. I got my little snacks so I can stay with y'all. Y'all can stay with me. I got my water and my cup of coffee. Um, I understand you saying you respond sooner than later. I've been there, hon. Everything is a struggle, but we get it all in when we can, and so I certainly understand. My technique used to be, or still kind of is, to get all of the emails and comments answered before I get my day started, and then before my day ends to make sure I've done the same thing. But sometimes that's harder than others. I managed to get up here and get a lot of things set up for this stream, so I'm proud of myself. I got further today than I did the last time that I was able to get started, so we're moving forward. Hey, at Unique View, I am so glad to see you. Did you create anything new today? Is it up and ready for me to view? I promise you, I still have yet to see um, your channel. I keep looking for it. So, but someone says it's there. Please, if y'all have the link, put it in the thing. When I put down my StreamYard link, if you can put it in the private chat, we'll do that. Even if Unique View, if you just come in so that you can put it in the private chat because you don't want to cam up, that's fine. But I really would like to be able to get subscribed and get you supported, and I can do that from wherever I am. So let's get the rest of this housekeeping out of the way, and then we'll start to talk about a couple of things that I want to hit that happened this week while I wasn't able to stream. Excuse me. Where is my? There it is. Ta-da! Okay, so back on the housekeeping, we talked about the schedule. I wanted to send out my condolences. I forgot I should have done it in the first place to Marcus over at Rebuilding Black Wall Street. I am so sorry to hear about your loss. I know it's hard, especially during these times where you can't be close to family the way that you would like to, where you can't really be as near to the people who are dear to you. And so being able to grieve and go through that process is a lot more difficult. But I know that you're strong and the people around you are. So, and I know that you all will make it through this. I just ask that, the universe looks out for the souls that you've lost and your spirits that are left behind. So y'all are in my thoughts. I usually try to attach some type of article that I've written, or opinion piece that I've written, or creative piece that I've written to these descriptions, and they have been on Ko-fi. The one that's in the description right now is on Ko-fi, but over this next week or so, I'll be transitioning all of those things over to Buy Me a Coffee, because as I build my main website for life coaching and cannabis consulting, I want to be able to have everything in one place so that I can just add that plug-in to the website itself. If y'all know anybody out there who loves brown struggling women and would like to help me create my website for a nominal fee or a shout out and some sweat equity on my part later on, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm slow at these things. Otherwise, we'll get there when we get there. And so I'm certainly not worried. But with you guys on my side, I'll get there. So, Ooh, Trash Can Ways, are you even old enough to remember a rotary phone? Bro, when cell phones ring with that house phone sound so loud, you know how some of my Gen X peers are. They act like they have, lost their hearing at birth. Like the thing is loud all the time. And I'm like, oh, your house phone is ringing. Can you answer that, please? It's insane. I don't know what that's about. But I think that might be all of the housekeeping things. Again, you guys, like I said, my goal is to build a compassionate community and conversation. We have got to see each other for the traumatized individuals we are inside of America, right? This country hasn't been great to any of us. Some of the communities around us, the people that have been involved in our lives, the things that we have been put in contact with along our journey, all of those things take a toll on us, and if we can remember that when we're talking to someone, when we're looking at the person next to us, then that's the most important thing. Uh, and so I really would just for us to keep that in mind moving forward. Like I said, I cannot make you move in any kind of way. I can't ask you to be just like me, and I wouldn't want you to. I want you to be the best you that you can be, and all the information that I give you is geared towards that. I use my stories, my life as an example. I tell you what I did wrong. I tell you what I did right. I tell you what I could have done better. But most of all, I try to get you to understand that it's about you and holding yourself accountable, accepting yourself for who you are, acknowledging those things, the things that you do wrong, and doing your best by other people, right? Frank, I'm so glad to see you. Yay, Frank made it. You guys don't know. Like, I think just Frank to me is a little bit of a kindred spirit. You know, I'm out here and I don't want to curse unless I really have to. I don't want to do all of those things. I'm not a Christian, but I believe that standing on his faith is something that makes Frank the amazing person. So I find that valuable. And he's just kind-hearted, and he's got daughters, and who doesn't love a man who's just smiling and beaming about his daughters all the time? I think that's fantastic. Makes me think of my dad. Hey, my Vivid Life, so glad you're here. I appreciate you guys coming in, checking it out. Please, while you're here, go ahead and hit that like button, something about subscribing and sharing, and a bell. Make sure when you do the bell thingy, you do the all thingy so you get the notifications. And I am so glad to have you guys here. Excuse me, let me get a little bit of water and then we're going to talk about some things. Frank, I'm glad you're here. I hope that you can stay. If for any reason you're going to have to leave sooner than later, let me know because I would like to talk to you about what I was going to say about your stream. Also, Frank, please, again, when I drop the link, put at least come in and leave your email in the private chat. I tried to use the email from your Facebook, I mean, for your YouTube, and it didn't come up. It got kicked back to me a couple of times. Yes, yes, yes. I have fully accepted. I am an ENTJ. Thanks to you. And then my younger sister and my client were like, duh, we've been telling you the whole time. Uh, and so I appreciate that. Are you making pancakes? Because that's what my dad would do. He'd get up on Saturday morning and he would make us pancakes. And then we would watch The Amazing Spider-Man and probably some kung fu flick. And then that was usually though after he'd taken care of the yard or he'd make me go out there and take care of the yard with him. I think sometimes he forgot that he was raising girls, but that's okay. You do what you do, right? Um, all right, Trash Can Ways, is that your theme song for the day? Let me make sure I go ahead and add it to our playlist for this week. That's the other thing, guys. Part of doing the theme songs differently is that I'm just going to I'm going to create a playlist. And eventually, I would like to be able to distribute that as one of the things for being a member of one of my other programs, right? I think that you all deserve something extra for being my A1 day ones for certain. So you'll get it before anybody else does. I'm going to catch up on a couple of comments and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, we're going to talk about acceptance, accountability, and acknowledgement. I do not want to clout chase. I don't want to be that because I want you to understand that that's not it. Going after the bag ain't it. Going after other people isn't it. So when I show you things, it's about you seeing the behavior that's unacceptable or seeing positive behavior and pointing it out, right? So that we can move better as a people, so that we can hold ourselves and other people accountable. So that's the most important thing. I would love to reach out to Devil's Bane or Before the Billions, and you know they're the same person, so stop playing. The thing is I really don't. I have a hard time approaching people. I can't afford anything, right? And so I'm doing this as I go along. Part of the thing that you all, I don't know if I've said or made clear enough, or even talked about, is that I moved out here to Tucson in order to change my life. Um, After all the things that happened to my cousin, all the things that happened to me, I was in the darkest place that I had been in a long time. Um, so much so that I've said it before, I was in the hospital for 5 days because self deletion was an option. Um, And afterwards, I was like, nope, I have to get away from all of the things that are around me, all including the people, and clear myself and depend on only me. So I moved to Tucson and I started over. That was October of 2019, though. So all my savings was gone, everything else. And I was starting from scratch. So I got a studio apartment and moved in. And then from there, things happened, the pandemic. My son was having issues and well, he wanted to change. And so he came out to Arizona. And then I invited a couple of others as as the pandemic took hold and became difficult. I don't want to see anybody homeless. And so I shared my space and what little bit that I have. And then they put us out. If you were immunocompromised, you had to leave work in March of 2020. And so I went out in 2020 and I collected unemployment and I started building all of these things from there. I took all of my unemployment and put it into building these little things, getting a laptop, getting a camera, workable phone, all of those things along the way. And so it's just been that process, and I'm rebuilding slowly but surely. So, yeah, Adrian, I would love to be able to hit the guys up and be like, hey, what's it going to cost me to get a web page from you? Or, hey, I don't have a dime to my name. I've never seen that go over well, and my pity party is nobody else's reason to do much. So, accountability. I got here from a series of things, some of them my own decision making, some of them completely out of my control. But how I move forward, I just keep moving forward. I keep trying. If someone offers me help, I certainly accept it. If I really and truly believe that that person can see some value in me and is willing to work with me, I'll reach out and ask. But no one's beholden to anybody, And it's hard enough, you guys. And that's just the honest truth. Picking up yourself every day, remembering how to be compassionate and patient, how to just talk to someone without all of your pain and flares. And it's hard. And I know that you never know until you ask. But when you put yourself out there enough, you have to pick and choose, right? You have to pick and choose. And not knowing someone, the risk of harm to yourself and the rejection isn't as deep, right? But enough of that pain, and it's just not something that you want to face or can face. I want to be able to talk to all of you on the phone in order to be able to collaborate, or even via email, but I can't anymore. Due to all of the traumas, the way that my brain moves has changed. I function differently. So where I used to be someone who could speed write an email, text message, call, those things, I can't anymore. I have to find a different way to do it. And that's why I'm here, right? So when you guys say to me, you never know until you ask. And when you say to me, have you ever thought about asking so-and-so? I answer you honestly, so you know what someone else is going through. And so that maybe someone in this little chat right now or out here who'll see the video later can admit in themselves that they are going through it too. And that's what makes it hard. What I can say is growing my community, both the one right here around me and my internet community, has made that easier, has made reaching out easier. Knowing that someone is out there willing to defend me enough that they would say something about someone else's mama, even if it is wrong, does make it easier. Because I know that somebody cares, that somebody hears. And it's not so much if you care about me, but if I know that you hear me, if I know that I'm spilling all of this into the void, I'm sharing everything with you, and you get something from it. That's what's important to me. And if you do not get something from it, someone else does. I mean, I wasn't trying to tell him what you did last night. I told you a hit dog would bark trash can waves. Chill out, bruh. You're just gonna give up all of the information. We ain't gonna have no secrets between ourselves messing with you. Um, and I appreciate you breaking up the tears. I told y'all I really didn't want to be, I really, really didn't want to be the one who was out here crying. But it's who I am. It's part of why people show up, because I show up. And I show up just like this, anytime. You call me, I'm there. You need me, I'm there. If I can't get to you, I'm there for you in any way that I can be. And I wish that more of us moved that way. And that's important. So let's get into it. And we're going to start with a story. And some of you all may know this, but if you don't, I'm going to show you this show first. And you all are just going to have to deal with me a little bit, okay? So, when I was a little girl, sorry, back at it. That's how my autism kicks in. We just start saying random stuff. Anyway, when I was a little girl, there was a show called Romper Room. And there was this white lady on there, and I don't remember her name really. But here is the video, and I want you to see it. She had this little mirror, okay? And she would look into the mirror and she would say, I see so-and-so, and I see so-and-so. You know what? She ain't never see JP, okay? I would sit there and wait and wait and wait and wait for her to see me.
I did.
Can y'all see that?
I had a Superman day.
You had a Superman day. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Spider-Man day.
Good.
his
I'm
mirror
glad
in
to
her
hear
hand
that. Well, you
right
know what?
here.
Wait. You know what time it is? It's
gonna
time for
pick up
me to
this
see the
mirror.
friends at home in the magic mirror. Romper bumper, stomper boo, tell me, tell me do. Magic mirror, tell me today, did all my friends have fun at play? All my friends had fun today. I see David's having a special day today, and Olivia Joy had a...
Now imagine being 5-year-old me on the other side of that TV waiting for her to see me. I just waited and waited and waited. Every day she came on, I waited for her to see me. And every day, nope. All the time. Mm-mm. I mean, I would really love that, Adrian. If you could help me to do that, I would greatly appreciate it. It is not, in a sense, you could call it scared. I just don't have the capacity to take on much, you know. And so, even if I'm just sharing like this for the rest of my life, and I'm naked, which is another theme song, you know, I'm just naked like this, you know, that's okay. As long as y'all hear what it is that I have to say, and you all can get something from it. That's the most important thing to me. Yes. Which, by the way, Trash Can Waves, that's my favorite Disney movie. I kind of hate to admit it, but yeah, it is. That and the Aristocats. But okay, so Romper Room. And why do I bring it up in that little mirror? Because we have to look into the mirror more often and accept ourselves, acknowledge ourselves, and hold ourselves accountable, right? And we don't do enough of that. We don't do enough of that as a community. We don't do enough of that as a people. We don't do enough of that inside of our family. Oh, honey, there is no way a blind guy, his wife, their life. If that's Aquita, they certainly did not say your name. Mine is Janine. How hard is that? 1 J, 3 E's, 2 N's. How hard is that? That people can't say it. People can look at it and still say Genevieve, Geneva. It's terrible. Here's the thing, though. I think it's just because people don't care to try. Same thing, right? Do they hold themselves accountable to trying, to acknowledging you, your person, and your name? That's my question. I don't think so. I do not think so at all. So again, here I am, 5-year-old me, looking at Romper Room, wishing and hoping that this woman would start talking to me. And in no way did that ever happen. She never once called out my name. And that's okay. right? Because we have to accept that as much as we want to be seen, we just might not be. As much as we want to be accepted, we just might not be. And how are we going to deal with that if we can't be accepted? If in the spaces that we are, people don't accept us, is it okay to continue to move in the way that we move? If it's consistently not being accepted, is it something to do with us? Is it something to do with them? The circle that we're in, the company that we keep, whatever it is, you know? We have to figure that out. Yes, yes. We have to stand in the mirror naked, trash can waves, and accept who we are. And so last year, about this time actually, I wrote an article called "Beautiful Morning Body," uh, and I was gonna put it up here. Y'all can go to the Ko-fi. There's a picture up there of me in the mirror, accepting me for who I am, flaws and all. Right. In that picture, I've got a scar right down the middle of my belly. It came from gastric bypass surgery. It's a reminder of what I went through. And I have to accept that reminder all the time. I have to acknowledge that reminder when I talk to other people. In my current relationship, it took me a long time to be willing to allow him to see me naked. Why? Because that scar is there. He already knew about the surgery. He knew all the things that I had gone through. But something about it actually being seen, you being witness to it. And I know my story, my pain, but you don't. You're only going to judge that scar, right? Are you going to accept me for that scar or something else? You know, can I accept it though? And at the end of the day, that's what I had to do. I had to accept it. And then I had to acknowledge it. I had to be accountable for why I ended up needing it, right? Why did I end up needing that scar? Because I had gotten to be 330 plus pounds. I say 330, y'all. It's very possible that it was a little bit more, a little bit less. There's no exact number because the process started 6 months before the surgery did. And so there's something to that. And then, you know, well, I also have to be accountable when I talk to other people, right? I have to be accountable to you all. Like I said, I didn't stream for 3 days, and I really didn't say anything. You all knew because I had posted a video about my life before. And so you understood, and you're still here. But I can't always count on that, right? I've got to do something. So I've got to put up a schedule. I've got to stick to that schedule. No one's holding me accountable but me, right? Who gonna check me? Me. That's the requirement. That's the requirement. And some of these things that I'm going to show you here in a moment, some of these things that I want to discuss with you all, that's the requirement, right? As we get to the 1 hour mark, I'm going to drop the link. And then I've got some things that we're going to look over and discuss, and I want to discuss them with you as a panel. Again, I want this to be a conversation. I want us to be compassionate. I want us to keep some things in mind. We are not attacking anyone in the things that we're going to watch. It is not about the person. It is about the behavior. We do not know these people. We don't know their character behind the scenes. We know what is being exhibited there, and we can use that to address the general behavior at large. What we are seeing consistently in our community as Black folks, and how we can address it compassionately. How we can address it in such a way that we can do better by them, by ourselves, and by our future generations. That's what's important to me. That's what all of this is about. That's why I'm here. That's why you guys show up, I believe. That's why there's a theme song. That's why I ask you to create your theme song every day. That if we start doing that and we get the message out far and wide, maybe we can affect the way that music is listened to, and then affect the way that music is purchased. Right? If we start to have conversations about the way that we are seen in the media because someone else is telling our story, if we're that and we take back the narrative, then we can accept ourselves because we put up representations that are truly of who we are, right? Tell me what I just told you isn't a great story. Me and two 20-year-old young men in a studio apartment during the pandemic, and we survived. Tell me where that's possible. Everybody would assume that a 40-something-year-old black woman would be going at the necks of two 20-year-olds and vice versa all the time, that somebody would not have survived. We did. How we did, that's for y'all to find out along this story, along this journey, in these streams, in these conversations. Hopefully I could turn it into a book or a movie. Somebody will hear it and be like, hey girl, let's talk. Hopefully I can get enough out there. I can do this enough that I can get into the practice and habit, and I can create it myself. I can go and talk to Marcus and be like, hey Marcus, I got an idea. You're a black man who knows how to make movies. You're a black man who can do this. But y'all have to know who I am first, to believe me, to trust me, to understand me, to take the words that I say and not just hear them, but to ingest them, consume them. Take the things that work for you and spit out the things that don't, right? That's what we have to do. Excuse me. Hey, Scorpion, thank you so much for showing up. I am so glad to have you here. Please be sure to leave me a theme song in the comments. I truly appreciate you. Were the first ones to do it, and it's important to me. When you guys leave me a theme song, I try to listen to them, and I try to envision you and what you may have been thinking in that moment. A side bit is that I am what they would call an empath or intuitive, a little bit more than others. So, and music is my medium. So, were you near me, you played a song, I would be able to have a conversation with you and tell you, okay, from that, I get this from your spirit. Here's how we move forward. Give you some things that would help guide you along on your journey. So I greatly appreciate it when you guys drop me a theme song. I also would like to be able to take the theme songs and play them and go over them, but I'll have to do that on a different platform because there's too many copyright issues over here. I'm looking at using, well, anyway, never mind. We won't put the cart before the horse and tell all my business, right? Because that's just not going to do. Okay? But like I said, we have to be accountable. We have to check ourselves. No one else can do it for us. It's up to us first. We have to find something to stand on, right? And all of these things, when I say stand on this, we have to have a point of view. Everyone, each and every one of us has to have a discipline, a doctrine, but discipline in that doctrine, right? Whatever it is that you say that you believe, you value, you have to stand on that. That's why I appreciate Frank so much, because Frank says, listen, I'm a Christian. I'm a black man, and I'm raising young black women. I have a set of values on which I stand in order to provide them the best opportunity, the best information that I have. And he's going out there and doing that. And then presenting that example to other people, sharing it and making sure that they understand, listen, it may not be how you move, but it's how I move. It's worked for us. And look at my results. They are beautiful, smiling young women. And in today's society, you know how rare that is? It's hard for me to believe that a parent to young black women has to have the same foundation that I had to have for raising my sons 20 years ago. 20 years ago, the statistic was that most young black men weren't going to live to see 21 or 25, something like that. I need for somebody to be able to tell me what that word is right there, trash can wave. BITC. It does say it shoot like a female dog and a parachute. Is that what that's supposed to be? Oh, That's interesting. Oh, bit shoot. Maybe that's what it is. Okay. Well, See, I'm a mother, and I saw that the wrong way first. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to pop trash can waves on this hand. Ain't you already had one time out today, bruh? Chill out already. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. I get it wrong sometimes. I told you I read that wrong, and I was like, what? I'm gonna have to. Anywho, okay. So back to what I was saying. We might have to cut this out. But it's all about us. It starts with you. It ends with you. As you're gonna see in one of these videos, I chose to do a thing to emasculate someone. That means that you know that your words are a weapon, that your mouth is a weapon, and you are shooting bullets willy-nilly, and you don't want to be responsible for the outfall. I'm not responsible. It's not my fault if it's not. You're not accountable for your words, especially when you know that your words have never had a positive place in the community, in any of the spaces in which you move. What about that part? What about the onus for that? You know, we're accountable. It's not just one-sided. You know, you can't just go out here shooting at people and then be like, oh my God, you're bleeding. What happened? You shot me. It's not how it works. It's just not how it works at all. I'm just saying, y'all. See? That's right. That's as I don't know if it's as a mother at blind guy his wife their life, or as a black woman, or a combination of them. But all I saw was BIT. What? Nope, nope. I gotta pop you in your mouth right now. We're not gonna do this. And isn't that bad? Isn't that bad? People do that to their kids too. I got in trouble for that once. My mother had to give me a free pass on a spanking because she popped me in my mouth because she thought I was gonna say MF. Now, mind you, if you are the mother to pop somebody in the mouth, why would you assume that they gonna ever do anything like that? But yeah, I was trying to be cute and just say mother instead of mama, you know, trying to be different. And I said mother, and she popped me in my lips. I was like, why you hit me? You said mother. No, I was just going, you know. So she was like, all right, you get a free pass. And then like a dingbat, I used it up rather quickly. I would say that free spanking got used up within 48 hours. I'll give myself 72 just because I want to, you know, be easy on me, but at least 48 hours. And yeah. So, you know, accountability, you know, it's not just in if you did someone physical harm. And I think that's what people get it wrong. It's not just physical harm. You can harm someone with your words, because you never know in that moment what has already been there. You never know what it is that they have taken from you and not said anything about yet. You know, there are a host of reasons. You know, no one owes you understanding. I'll admit that. But if you want understanding, if you want to be out here and be heard and be seen, you have to give some. That's the way that life works. And how you move in the world matters. If you move with positivity, you tend to receive positive things back. If you move with negativity, you get negative back. If you stand in the middle and you don't move, or you're apathetic about life, which many, many, many of our children are, then you see exactly what you've always seen, in the way that you've always seen it. You know, I ask you to take a look around at the 17 to 21-year-olds in your life right now. Could you send them to Europe, allow them to travel around by themselves for 14 days, just them and their sibling in the same age range, and know that they are going to be safe, come home, be prepared, and without having committed any atrocities in that foreign country? How many of our 17 to 21-year-olds can you think of? who can do that, who have the self-awareness to move in a foreign country, see all the things that they enjoy and love, and do something, positive, right? Exactly. You never know what someone else is going through, Scorpion. And it's again, it's not even about that other person though. If you're able to give that little bit of space and grace to someone else, you can give it to yourself when you need it the most. You can see in yourself the flaw, the brokenness, the pain in that moment, and you can do something about it. I have to admit, Adrian, I do not think that I've actually heard the song because I was not a fan of Christina. Why was I not a fan of Christina? I really just think that I kind of felt like I was too old. She didn't really. I wasn't really. I'm not into pop in that way. So those things, and then there's the whole cultural appropriation. But that's for another stream. How about that? Excuse me. I do appreciate you giving me a theme song, and I hope that you will drop them more often. I will check it out, and I will, I suppose, leave it in the comments. That way you'll have a reason to, or maybe I'll just make it a theme song one day so you can talk about it then. Excuse me. Hey, look at that, Trash Can Waves. You helped that blind guy, his wife, find out something new. So BitChute is a new platform to check out. I'm looking into it. I'll look forward to it. Like I said, I am working on the Discord thing, so that'll be a place where we can put a lot of this information, and easily someone can go, and once it's mentioned in one of these streams, it can be there. They can drop it into the Discord, and everybody will have access to it. We tend to be asking some of the same questions, having some of the same issues, so if we can look out for one another and have one space to put all of that, I think it'd be fantastic. I think that all the Struggle Stream family should be there. But, I'm starting with the few people that I know I speak to more consistently, and then moving forward from there. Everything starts with a few and grows a little at a time, right? They're taking over the YouTube platform. Huh. That's interesting. Did Adrian change it again? No. That's the one that I'm used to seeing. Is there a different one? Ooh, Out on a Limb by Tina Marie. That is a great one. Now, I do know that. Um, One of those things, that's one of those that certainly goes into my Saturday cleanup playlist, something about that time of music. Chet Perry sent me a song from Slave, and that guitar in there, I don't know, something about the feelings in that music back then. It just was something entirely different, and you just don't get it today. And that's one of the things that I'm certainly going to do, is just take the lyrics from songs then and now and go through them with you guys sometimes. I might save that for just on Tuesdays. Something, we'll see. We'll figure it out as we go along. That's what we're here for, right? All right. So I am going to get ready to drop the link, and then we're going to discuss a couple of videos today. I was going to use the lead attorney's footage, but I'm actually going to go ahead and use Frank's because I think it drives the point home more succinctly, and it actually touches on more things. And so I'm going to let that play, and I am going to step away from the computer, but actually first we're going to do this. She said Corey must be typing. Stop it. All those conspiracy theories. Quita, I'm with you. Now, let me tell you something. When you say conspiracy theories, there's something about me y'all should know. Um, my, my male parent. Here I am having an Adrian moment, y'all. Ain't this so bad? Listen, in my head, Adrian, this is one of those things that I tease you about quite often because you'll finagle some words to not say my brother, or you will rearrange some words to say, to not have to say my sister-in-law or whatever. I love you for it, and I get it. You don't want to be attached to certain things, but in this case, let me just go ahead and be an adult about it. My my biological father. Ah man, I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind. Oh, that's right. Conspiracies. Okay, so my biological father was a Scientologist, which makes me the child of a cult member. Even if he didn't raise me, I never even knew him. I didn't meet him until I was 18. I'm the child of a cult member. So when I start to think about conspiracy theories and I start to go down these rabbit holes, I always keep that in the back of my mind. And so I'll always go and check with somebody else. Like I'll check with my sister or check with my neighbor. I'll be like, hey fella, or somebody, when you hear this, what do you think? And as long as, I'm not talking to my fellow theorists and it sounds like it's good. Okay. What I say about echo chambers, I have to make sure that I'm not in a cult echo chamber or a conspiracy theorist echo chamber. Exactly. Things like that, And then, like I told y'all, my life's been a little difficult. I have had some diagnoses that other people probably won't talk to you about. Like I have what used to be called multiple personality disorder, dissociative identity disorder. And it just really means that when things happen to me, it's kind of like I'm outside of my body. Things are I can't stop what is happening in that moment. It's like I'm watching it from outside of myself. And it happens when I'm under immense amounts of stress, physically and emotionally. And that comes a lot faster when you have fibromyalgia, right? And there's a pandemic going on, and there's such and such, and there's such and such. So I have to be responsible for my life a lot. I have to be accountable for who I let in, what I let in, and how I move and how I behave. And that includes, doing this. So like I said, I have to understand that as much as I would like to be able to give you all 6 days of content and take 1 day off like the Lord, I can't. I can give y'all 4 days of content and take 3 days off. Because that's how my fibromyalgia is set up. And we'll all make it work that way, right? All right, so I'm going to get ready to drop the link, and then we are going to watch Frank's video, and I'm going to back it up a little bit and make sure I got the time right. The time stamp on it. I think I'm going to start it from when she first enters, so that'll give me a moment or two to do what I got to do here. Now listen, y'all. Never mind. Janine, JP, are you about to do something inappropriate? See? I can even catch myself on the fly. Can you do that? That's one of those things about being accountable. You have to stop yourself right away. I don't even want to address that. I'm putting my head down. Hey, Trash Can Waves, it does look like you have blue hair. It didn't even look like, it looked kind of like a phoenix at first when I saw it. You know how you can look in the clouds and you can see an animal or a symbol or something? Same thing is true here. I really thought that was like some type of phoenix thingy. And then I was like, oh no, nope. That's that Duke's just shining a little bit too much, making it hard for me to know it was that man's hair. That's all. We got it though. We got it. I'm telling you, those are the same two. That's one fella. It's one fella. But you know what? They're one knowledgeable young fella, and maybe it takes 2 brains and 2 bodies to hold all of that intellect, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, it does. It also resembles 2 of my tattoos in that regard. Ooh. Nah, please, y'all. I have 3 tattoos. I'm very proud of them. Each of them represents a perspective or a part of who I am as a person, right? So I'm not one of them people who you can shame for that. I think we need to get modern. So if anything, maybe I should be JP, the modern matriarch. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see in this light, trash can waves. I will take a picture of it though, or I have to take the fella take a picture and show you guys later on. See, everybody just not figuring out that it's waves. It's not just me and trash can waves. It's just something about it. It's the picture. It's the lighting on the picture. But it's great because it gives you it makes people look at your name and remember it. It makes people recognize you every time that you show up. So, hey, bruh, more power to you. That's some heck of a branding without even I assume that you thought about it, but Oh, I love to see a black man brush. When black men smile, that's my thing. I'll make y'all smile anytime. It's kind of bad, I know. Yeah, see, you see how you said they went with their 21-year-old white boyfriend and they paid for it. Them's all the problems. I love you to death, Adrian. Them's all the problems. And his parents paid for it. He didn't even pay for it. Listen. I just have a different set of values by which I move on some things. I don't. I tried twice to date outside of my culture. Couldn't do it. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Okay, so we are going to drop the link and play this, and I'm gonna let it run for a minute because I gotta step away for just a second. Y'all, please forgive me. I know it's bad form. Um, I'll try to do better next time, but I'm old and it's cold, and that's all I'm gonna say on the subject. Okay.
But
Is
everything
the
that he
sound
said
okay?
was part of a strategy to win and ultimately win an argument
Oops.
or present his side.
Sorry, y'all. I watch things when I'm setting up in double time. Which is funny, y'all. You should do it sometimes because you'll notice that some of us speak really slowly, and so when you speed it up, it sounds like normal time. Some of us speak really fast, and so it sounds like chipmunks. It's entertaining just to do it for that purpose. This is what I do when I'm having flares, y'all. I'm so glad y'all can't see my face to know how ridiculous I'm acting back here. Okay, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna play this.
Of the argument, right? When Jen got, you know, to that BAN word part, she began to insult other people. And like even on the following day when she was trying to explain herself, she began to insult the chat and insult other people. So it comes out of a place of pure anger. And I feel that if you're gonna be in these spaces with people with different ideas, different understandings, people from different cultures, because look, you have Africans in the lead attorney's chat, and those Africans from Africa or from other places in Africa, they may have a totally different feeling about the N word that we don't even know or not privy to. You have people that are overseas, people from England, people from here, people from there, and they're not privy to how we use it in a certain context, or they're not privy to how Jen uses that on the block. They're not privy to that. There's more than just the majority of the community is black people. I can give you that, but there's a large section of people that are from Africa, from overseas, from different parts of the world, and it's just when you're on a platform, you're no longer on the block. And if you're going to be on someone else's platform, it'd be one thing if Jen was on her own channel and had kind of the leniency or the wiggle room to say what she wanted to say in free speech. But when you're on someone else's stream and you take it to that level, and you have really a disregard, let's be honest, a disregard for the other people that are listening to you, it just just it rubbed me the wrong way. So
Right, right. Again, you're kind of expressing kind of a similar sentiment as
yes,
Kareem. All right, so I believe Jen is right here with us.
May I
So what I
make
want to
one
do is,
statement
um,
really quick, just to Darius? I'm sorry.
okay, very quick. Do I need to pull out the courtesy clock?
No, you don't.
nah,
I
Okay,
just
go
want to say,
ahead.
Darius, and I want you to take this with you.
okay,
The reason that, as I just said, that the responsibility is on the speaker to get the message across. If black folks are going to be this bothered by the use of the N word by anybody outside of the culture, they have to stop using it inside of the culture. On that,
right.
Jen and I agree. We have to stop. It's up to us also to point it out when someone else does it, regardless of their race, color, whatever it is. Now, we'll get into how I feel about bringing folks into the community for an entirely different reason, but take with you that part. If we take
Mm,
it out of our music in our homes, if we take it out of our books in our homes, out of our words, out of our mouths and our children's mouths, that's how we change it. And it can be done because I have a 26-year-old son who never used the word inside of my home. I can't tell you what he did on the streets. I'm not responsible for that. Things do happen. But I made my home a place where you kept your innocence and your blackness most important. And so you did not call yourself that.
mm,
Got it. All right, I think you make a extremely valid point there. Um, Jen is here. We've been talking about her this whole time, so I think we definitely need to give her some time. I see you right here, Adrian. I want to pull you in is when I can, but we definitely want to give Jen the space here to really offer her perspective on not only the stuff, my breakdown on what I had to say, but what she's heard up to this point. Jen, you here?
I'm sorry, I was muted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, so your breakdown was fair. I'm not offended by anything you said or offended by anything anybody else said. At the end of the day, everybody is entitled to their opinion. Everybody's entitled to judge me. Everybody's entitled to see me how they see fit. I'm a little, I know for a fact that I'm a little more detached and abrasive than the average person, right? A lot of people get offended easily. And the retort I usually get is, well, what if we said X, Y, and Z about women? Or what if we said X, Y, and Z about Latinas? And my response is always, you can say whatever you feel like. And then it is up to me to be offended. I always say being offended is a choice, not an obligation. So I take a look at people who may say something derogatory about me or Latins or my culture or my group, my tribe. And I say, do I know this person? Do I care about this person? Am I paying bills with this person? Am I doing bills with this person? Then no, I'm going to choose to not be offended. But I know that's not the norm, right? I know that's not the norm. So yeah, I can understand that a group of people hang on to certain things. And it's like, I'm going to be offended by everything. And I feel sorry for people like that, but I can't change who they are. What I wanted to address was the talk about the brand. I think Kareen said, well, I wish she wouldn't have did that on the platform. To be clear, the brand is the block, right? When people invite me on their platform, that is what they're looking for, the block. They're not looking for me to be civil or cordial, depending on the platform, right? As far as the lead attorney, when Kareen said that she saw me there prior. When I first started being interested in his platform, I thought he was amazing. I was like, okay, pretty cool. I like this. He's fair. He lets everybody talk. He challenges them, right? To the point where when he challenged me, I was like, I'm going to give him respect because he's smart. You know what I mean? He knows what he's talking about. Now, as time progressed, and you're going to see, mark my word, as time progresses even further, unfortunately, the lead attorney is going to turn into one of the charlatans. Okay, he said it himself when he talks about certain subjects. He doesn't get a lot of views. As soon as he starts talking about gossip and drama, he has 500 people, 3,000 people in the chat. He admitted when Anton and Lucario were arguing, that was his biggest audience. So we're going to start seeing what I liked about him deteriorating. And that's fine. That's fine. But what happened that day was he deteriorated in present time. And then I did my matching energy thing. And I was sincere about, I shouldn't have went there because that's not who I want to be, right? And it has nothing to do with age. I know people throw the age. I don't care about, it has nothing to do with age. Just I don't want to be that person. I know there's better ways to communicate. But when I'm on a platform where there are a bunch of people, and not all, I literally have a sign that I hold up when I'm doing my show, not all, because not all people are this way. But when I'm on a show where someone is now attacking me and being cute, like I was surprised when the lead attorney was like, oh, but you're 50. Yeah. And I was like, oh,
Wish I had to take that microphone. Okay, so anyway, what I was saying. First of all, let's just go back. I eat a lot, huh? So let's talk about this. Having had gastric bypass surgery, I can only eat about 8 ounces of food at a time. And so as a result, you'll see me snacking quite a bit. And so that's just part of it. So please forgive me if you see me in here munching my way away. Uh, I know you do. Look, there you go. You can hear the sound. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, y'all. I had a brief moment. I had to step away and forgot to turn it back on. Hey, look, we have somebody new in the chat. Thank you so much. I am an observer. Please feel free to drop a theme song and some information about you, I suppose. But we're going to get into this. I'm going to drop a link, and then we're going to talk about what we just watched. One of the things that I want to discuss right away is where she mentioned that she definitely called him a BAN in order to emasculate him. So that means that you know that words have power, right? That your words are a weapon and they can be used against other people. And that particular word is so exceptionally harmful, right? We already know that word comes with hate, comes with pain, comes with a certain level of danger and mistrust. And when it comes from someone who doesn't look like us, it definitely feels that way, even more so, right? And so we're not going to talk about the word. That's not what I'm here for at all. What I'm here for is the accountability factor, right? So in this moment, if we're looking in the mirror at ourselves, again, like I said, it's not about that person. It's about us. It's about that behavior that we see inside of our community, and what do we do about it? And so, when it comes to that, what do we do about that behavior when we see it in ourselves and in our community? When you see it in yourself, when you're standing in your romper room and looking in that mirror, are you looking at yourself? Do you use the N word? How often do you use the N word? How often do you use the B word? Is it okay? Is it an example of you that you want to put out into the world? I'm willing to guess not. Right. This was a constant attempt to break down a person. And that's the thing that I have a problem with. We do that so much in our communities. Attacking someone's weight, someone's hairline. Anything you can to make someone feel small or less than you are. Right? Anything you can to win an argument at any expense. Is that really how you want to be seen in life? Is that what you want to pour into your community, put out into the world? Is that what you want to get back? Because it's exactly how it works. It's like any other currency exchange, right? You put in $1, you get 4 quarters. If you're dealing with the foreign exchange market back in the day, you hand over $1, you get 2 marks. But you know exactly what you're getting based on what you put in. The same thing applies here. So I wanted to say, in our being accountable, we have to be accountable to the people that we allow into our community, right? How is it that she felt comfortable saying those words? That someone like her feels comfortable saying those words, right? We're going to try not to even get that close. That someone like her feels comfortable saying those words. How do they get there? Us. We invite them to the barbecue. We use the word around them as freely as possible. We accept the behavior in ourselves, in our music. Whatever the behavior may be, I'm not just talking about that word. And if we want to get into it, let's just go ahead and handle it now. I do not believe in using the word period. Here lately, I've been around some folks who do use it, and as a result, it's kind of slid into my vernacular, and I don't like it. So, being that I am also the life coach, I've decided to become my own client and put myself to the challenge. It's sneaking into my vernacular. I do not like it, and so I'm going to do something about it. Well, I'm not the strongest person in the world, and I need to start building up my muscle strength, but I use the excuse that my fibromyalgia makes me hurt, and so sometimes I don't. I've decided now, every time that I either use the B word or the N word, I have to drop and do a push-up. Right then, real time. Who's going to check me? Me. Do other people know? Yeah, my client knows. The fella knows. But that's about it. But it's a requirement for us to do better. Right? So now that I know, I'm doing better. I think I did 4 push-ups yesterday. My client is somewhere around like 10. Got some work to do, right? So it's okay. Right. No mamas, no kids, everything else. I try to reflect the person energy back. Now that's the problem though, trash can waves. If we're always giving back somebody else's energy, how do we calm a situation? I asked that in that same stream. How do we chill? How do we sit back and diffuse the situation? Even when we may feel that we're right and righteous. You know, how do we sit back and diffuse the situation? How do we make things easier for someone else? How do we make it so that we can get past this moment? Because they don't always see and realize it when you do it that way, right? It's just like as a parent, you could believe in spanking, but you can't spank all your kids because it doesn't work the same. I don't think you should spank either, but that's a subject for another stream. Indeed, Scorpion, she said that she grew up saying it. And no. See, this is the problem with the way that things were worded inside of there, right? She was Afro-Latina, which we assumed gave her which we said gave her the right to say we several times in that discussion. But she tell you that it's also not black. That there's a clear distinction. And there is. As I said, there's family that you invite to the barbecue, and then there's family that you only invite to the family reunion. There's family that comes over every Saturday and y'all cook out and y'all hang out and y'all clean up and y'all do all kinds of things together. And then there's family that you only see every 2 years. She's in the only 2-year category, but y'all let her into the everyday barbecue. Because there are certain people who look like us and move like us but are not us. And you have to keep that in mind. They do not view things the way that we view things because they have not experienced those things in the way that we have experienced them. They have experienced that word, as Darius said, in a different way. Several times she would say, either in that stream, in the lead attorney's actual stream, she would say, you don't own that word. No one owns that word. No one owns hate. And no one should try to accept hate into themselves. The description inside of this stream says, communities not in the midst of an identity crisis don't claim words and behaviors of hate against themselves because they know it's poison. I don't care if you drop the E-ara and put on an A. It still stems from hate. It comes from pain, trauma, torture. There are still people today who look like me and you who'll be drugged from behind a truck, hung from a tree, or shot. And it's the last thing that they hear. It's a bullet. And she knew it. She aimed it right for Donovan. That behavior is unacceptable, no matter who it is. I say that there was plenty of reasons why someone with that type of behavior and that look could do that in our community. We're so hell-bent on how someone looks. We give them a pass on how they behave. If they look the part, we'll give them a pass. She was cute. She looked like Jen from the block. She got a pass. Her pass got her in the door. She got to get comfortable, hang around, use that word, learn how to use it against us, and then shoot and fire whenever she's ready, and then use Afro as a blanket, as a cover, as a shield. I do not hold her responsible first. Us. You can assume that to be true trash can waves unless you're someone who is used to contention, who is used to battles and is okay with it. If you're used to fighting, if you're used to struggling with somebody, if you're used to going through, if that's what you think love looks like, putting your hands on each other, hollering and screaming at each other, if that's what you think that communication looks like, you'll still go down that path. You'll still say all those things. You'll still behave that way. Until someone shows you different. Because until then, you don't know anything else. You don't know how to communicate or move in a different way. And where she said that it's not about age, I fully disagree. At our age, she's a year or two older than me. At our age, we should be the example. We should set the tone. When I realized that this word that I did not want to use was seeping its way into my language because of the people that I was keeping company with, I could do two things. Well, three. I could let it remain the way that it was. I could remove that person from my company, or I could address it with that person and try to make a change. I chose to address it and try to make a change. Why can't people like that? Why can't people who don't mind shooting off mouth bullets whenever they feel like it, why can't they choose to make a change? In this case, this particular person did say that. They tried to make a change, they slipped back to. Why is that your base? Because you grew up in that culture? When do you put it aside? 5% say a lot in the Nation of Islam. You may be from the ghetto, but the ghetto ain't in you. Right? Just because you grew up in this environment doesn't mean you have to stay mentally in that environment. Doesn't mean you have to move that way. Because it's all about emotion and trash can waves. These are all people who, in my opinion, who move on emotion. They wouldn't tell you that. But they move on emotion. They move on the idea that what you... I have to admit to you that I don't understand it. Because if you can say that what I have said or done can cause you to behave this certain way, then you can see that you should be able to see that the same is true of you. But I guess if their way of dealing with it is to say, well, it's not that person's fault that I'm sensitive, then that's how they move as well, right? I'm sensitive, so I got to get over it. And so I expect you to get over it in the same way that I did. That's kind of the same thing that I'm doing here, isn't it? I am telling you that you're going to go through all these experiences in life. You can move in one of two ways. whichever one you choose, whichever one makes it easiest or best for you. And to be honest, choosing to go my way isn't easy. Being able to see someone else's pain in that moment, not easy. You know, as much as I'm hurting, as much as I'm crying, as much as I'm sad, as much as I have been injured by this other person, in order to be able to move things forward, I have to be able to back down. Okay. I may have a point to make. I have an opinion about something. I may feel some type of way. But in order to have a positive or a constructive conversation, even, right? Just constructive conversation, we have to do some things. We have to acknowledge that the other person is a person, that they exist, right? And they have a perspective. We have to accept that they are entitled to those things. You don't have to accept their perspective. You have to accept that they are entitled to a perspective and to having that perspective heard. Okay? And then, once we've heard their perspective, we can choose to be accountable or not. Accountability takes many forms. If they say that you've wronged them and you don't think that you have, how are you accountable in that situation? You have a conversation. I did not mean for it to go this way. I meant this thing. Can we talk about it? Or you could take it as if they attacked you, you're under assault. How does that solve anything? Right? Because in this one case, the thing that's true is that they are still just words. They're not physical bullets. They are still just words. So you can back down from words. At any moment, you can ease off of your words before they get so far that you injure someone. And even should your words injure someone, you can find a way to fix that because you're not doing physical damage. It's going to take a lot more work, but it can be fixed. I saw it in a lot of people's insecurities too. It's pretty much, the things that we see in the arguments that we have with the people that we love are usually defense mechanisms. More often than not, their behaviors, the demeanors, the things that they do to us is a defense. And if we can get around that defense mechanism, if we can see it and we can stop, we don't react to it because we understand what it is, we move forward from there. But first you have to be able to see them through your own hurt, through your own pain, through your own trauma. You have to put someone before you. And that's the hard part. So I'm going to bring up Blind Guy, his wife, their life. And I put you on mute, Quita or Corey, whoever it is, but you can unmute yourself whenever you're ready. I just heard there's some background noise. But feel free to jump in. Just who's going to check you? Or
Okay,
talk
I'm
to me
here.
about accountability. How
I
do we
am
deal with this
here.
situation? We invite these people into our space, Quita. How do we deal with it?
Okay, good morning. How are you today?
I'm good, beautiful. How are you?
Doing good. My apologies. I'm still in the kitchen, so I can't cam up or, do too much. But I do want to ask, how my sound is so
Good.
that, okay, great. So that if it's good, we can move forward. So I had requested in the chat way a long time ago to not talk about accountability because I don't want to be accountable. But okay, this is your show. This is where we are. So, but yeah, you know what? I mean, you're spot on. That's just the way it is. Really and truly, we have to be accountable. So this is where I speak a lot on And when I say a lot, I basically just keep the same mantra pretty much all the time, as far as I call it being on code. People will hear on, they will hear that and they will think, um, nah, we ain't got to do that. They're thinking like, oh, it's a black code, it's a white code, it's a this code or whatever. And I'm like, no, you are on code every time you say, excuse me. That's being on code socially. Like, we don't
Mm-hmm.
look at it as when you stop at the stop sign, that's being on code, you know? And I'm not going to say how many I've run, how many stop signs I've run. I'm just going to say, if I have ever run a stop sign, I get criticism. I get people saying, you should have stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is, who's going to check you, right? At this point, that's what you were just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Folks will check you, and that's what we're doing out here. The same like whenever we're showing this uh, behavior by using certain words and mainstream in our music on an everyday basis in public spaces, we're getting checked when the other folks are saying, maybe it's an older person, maybe it's somebody your age. No, no, don't say that right now. We got people checking us. It's a matter of, are we listening? Are we going to really make that a part of our life uh, status? Yeah, let me just only say that amongst the boys, amongst the home team, or whatever,
Exactly.
and that's exactly how we change the narrative. But I did put in the chat, I learned about racial slurs for other races from those races. They weren't coming to me or around me saying things about their races. So whether it was a white person, a Jewish person, and of course Corey knows everything. So I'd be like, what are they talking about? What that mean? Oh yeah, so and he would have an answer. He knew already
Yeah.
um what this term or that term meant for that community of people. And I'm like, well, dang, okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. But my point is that it's us. Who's how are we are saying these things. That's what people are going to believe that we value.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say, oh, okay, that's what they're saying. Yep, we can say it too. Or they're going to also realize those are the things that hurt you, because I did not realize that like I said, certain terms for other races were hurtful to them
Mm-hmm.
until I heard them saying it and hearing their reaction about it. So again, we're teaching people how to love us, how to hurt us with whatever we're saying in our spaces and how we're doing it. So that's
I
that's my go ahead.
No, no, I absolutely agree with you. It's and it starts with us, and it starts so early, right? Everything that we pour into our children from day one. Um, I recently was watching this video. Do you know who the famous twins are? I'm gonna guess no, because you keep your family in a bubble, is what I like to call it, and I think that that
Wait, you
bubble.
mean you said the famous twins, adults, children?
They're young ladies, young girls, 20-something year olds.
Oh no, nope, I'm not familiar with them.
Okay.
I
So
thought you meant
first,
the two little girls, but anyway, go ahead.
no. First of all, you should start to watch Dr. Tia San Johnson if you don't. But second, these two young ladies, they're called the famous twins in reality. And I think they're on TikTok and Instagram. Two young black ladies who blonde hair, orange hair, all kinds of whatever. Spend a lot of time twerking and dropping it and this, that, and the third. Long story short, they got into an altercation with one of the girl's boyfriends, which eventually escalated to the stepfather passing away, a neighbor passing away, and a young lady being in the hospital in critical condition. All based off the behaviors of these two young ladies and what was poured into them at some point, right? When we get down to the crux of it, who was supporting these girls being on this internet doing all these things? That stepfather and their mother. Who taught them? Who allowed all of these gangbangers and this, that, and the third, these thugs into their lives so that that would be the thing that they looked up to? their mother and their stepfather, their village, poured that into them. And it poured right back out and spilled over into this level of violence to all these people. Innocent bystanders, right? And that's the thing. The people, I'm not accountable for what I do. It ain't about me. So and so shouldn't have did this. He did that. Such and such did this. All of those things are how we get to situations like this. No accountability, no responsibility, right? Our children spend so much time talking about what was done to them. So while we can hold someone else accountable, what are we doing to teach them to be accountable to themselves? And I'm asking you that, Quita, because I know you have children, and we have a similar perspective, but I hope that it'll start a deeper conversation. What are we doing to get them to stop pointing the finger at others? Or what can we do to get them to
You
stop
know,
pointing the finger at others?
yes. Honestly speaking, I just call it as I see it. Like I specifically tell my girls, and I've told other people's children because we're in spaces with other people's children all the time where, we're the educator, we're the instructor, we're the person in charge. And I tell them, what you're not going to do is have a problem because you did something and they did something back. Like we had a like, and I tell my girls like specifically that I was at a camp teaching these kids, and they were doing something. They were about to come on stage, so they were backstage, and the one girl said, "Ouch!" She stepped on my foot, like the girl stepped on her heel or something, and the girl behind her started crying. And you know what I mean? And I was like, no, no, no. Did you apologize yet? And these are things that I also tell my daughters when things happen. You running in here because they hit you, but did you apologize yet? What did you do to them? So honestly speaking, we have to hold each other accountable. When we see something, we have to say something. We can't just, let things slide. And that also, I mean, you don't have to say something to everybody out here in these streets, everybody in public. But when we have our smaller circles in our homes, in our schools, at our workplace, yep, say something. I've been checked before. I just know, and plenty of times because I got a problem that I've been working on. But anyway, so
What did
so
Corey say? Shut up. KQTC men are singing.
exactly, you know what I mean? Because Corey will tell me quick, you ain't have to say that, or calm down, or be quiet, or don't even mention it.
Yep.
And he tells me all the time, look, you ain't got to say everything. You can show them better than you can tell them. There's other ways you can manage it. You know what I
Yep.
mean? But be quiet for now. He's checking me, so that I don't end up in a situation where I'm escalating that does not need to be escalated, like you're saying with the twins. Okay. Now all of these people have been laid low over, you know, their over these girls doing whatever they've been taught to do by society, family, friends, their tribe, whoever, meet the media. And so, another thing that I do is we definitely check our children's media intake. Of course, you can't catch everything, but we just stay on it. And when, like last week, when I was saying, look up the lyrics, simple things like that. Like,
Yep.
we don't have to argue or fuss at them about what you doing listening to this. Do you know what that's all about? Turn that off. Nope. We don't run into the room with a belt beating all three people. I don't know if you've seen that video, but I was like, wow, I learned how to handle a belt after watching that. But anyway, that's a different video. So,
Listen.
but yeah, looking at evaluating things. That's also how you check people. Asking the question, because sometimes, people don't even realize what they're saying or what they're doing. So, ask the question. Start with the question. Don't start with instructions and preaching. Ask the question. That's another way. Check it when you
Yes.
see them. You know they know what they're doing, and then ask the question.
And that's one of those things, in being in the moment and being able to show in the moment, hey, this is a problem. And it's anything at any time, especially when it comes to our children, you have to address it the moment that you see it. Little brains forget. So as soon as there's a problem or an issue, if you can get on it right then, you can show them the better way to move and to behave so that they're not, excuse me, carrying on these negative things into society with them. I spend a lot of time, like I said, on my porch watching things and people go by. But I interact with, other folks and their children and whatnot. And when I see, children who just aren't being guided, and I step in and I say something very briefly to the child and they immediately respond, and their parents are like, well, how'd you get him to do that? I, I was the adult in the situation. We have to stop trying to be our children's friends so much, and I think that that's one of those things. Even now, my kids are, considered adults. I'm still not their friend. Do we have more adult conversations? Are they, not based on they're based on different things right now that they're older, but I'm still their mother. I'm still my father's daughter. I can't call my daddy and call him by his name. There's this thing going around Facebook, I think it was, or TikTok, where young men or children are calling their parents by their actual names, and all of the parents are flipping out. At least all of the white parents are flipping out. The black parents.
Hmm.
But my dad, I tried that. I told you, my father is 65. Oh no, he's 66. I'll be 46 this year. I tried that in a text message, and he responded with, "Who you talking to? Your son? You can't be talking to me." Like, where's
Right,
that?
right.
Where's that
It's
level of
just,
respect?
hmm
Where do we get that back? It starts with you and me, Quita, but I mean, how do we enforce it in those younger than us until they understand why it's valuable?
Well, I mean, we lead by example too, because the fact of the matter is, if I'm out in public and I'm cutting up, and Corey's like, "Nah, calm down." Why is he saying that? Because somebody else is looking. We learn by experience. You don't learn by the words people are telling you. They say actions speak louder than words. So whatever you're doing, you know what I mean? People will emulate, they will follow. So I'll give an example. We have a lot of events that we either go to or are a part of, either because we were there and performing, we were there performing, or because we had friends that were involved or whatever. So when we wanted to hold our own events, we would say, okay, how are we going to do this? Do we need to put up a sign? Do we need to post it in the flyer? What to expect or how people should do things? And then we realized, oh, all you have to do is set the mood. You set the atmosphere, and everybody else will follow. It's the reason why I mean, you think of it, a hotel is an open space. Anybody can walk in there and do anything. And they usually don't. It's not a big thing that they do. Some people do go in there and eat the breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if that's what you got to do, go on in there. But the fact of the matter is, most people don't. So when we are on a road trip, that's where we stop because they always have the clean restrooms. Do they question us when we walk in the door? Never.
Mm-mm.
But they set an atmosphere so that everybody comes in calm, everybody comes in respectful. They have all the fancy furniture. We know that those rooms aren't clean. We know that, the hotels have their own infrastructure issue, but they set a certain standard right from the beginning so that they don't even have to say anything. We don't even have to know if there's a person at the front desk or if somebody called in and there might be one staff member in the whole building. They already set the mood across the nation, into other
Yeah.
countries, wherever you go, there's a certain standard. So that's where I'm saying, you lead by example because whatever you're doing, the same way like you mentioned with the twins, their example got them into this current situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, really, we all just have to take, as much as I hate to do this, personal accountability. You know what I mean? And take our person and move forward with that. And you can't be out here, okay. Once you get to a certain point, you have where you know better, you have to do better. That's it.
Indeed. So let me ask you this question, Quita.
Sure.
When did accountability become a four-letter word?
A four-letter word meaning.
Like people are opposed, like it's are as averse to accountability as they are if you drop the F bomb or the N bomb. Why? What's so bad about the word? What's so bad
I
about
mean, but
being
it's,
accountable?
you got to think about it. It's now been publicized and main media been put out there through the music, all these different words. You know what I mean?
True.
Look at how YouTube changed it so that you can drop an F bomb as long as you don't say mother first.
Mm-hmm.
Or if there's certain ways you can say it. Like, come on, y'all putting parameters on a four-letter word that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You should put parameters. So, say for example, you know me, food is my big thing. They need parameters on the F word. You should not be able to advertise certain foods a certain way.
Yeah.
Because that's how a lot of us are into chronic illnesses. That's how a lot of us are into poor health. That's how a lot of us are into whatever. But look at what's being chosen to be censored and moderated by all the big folks. So that's what I'm saying. It's not just us as individuals. Yeah, we need to work on that. But also, if you have a recording contract, yeah, you're gonna just have to take personal responsibility and look at who will this reach. It's not. This is no longer me on the corner selling the mixtape to eight people
Yeah.
that may or may not listen to it.
Yeah. And that was the thing that I think Kareen was trying to get across in Frank's stream to
Hmm.
the lady on the block, was that at the end of the day we are more than if you have a platform of that size, you're more than just you. At that point, you are the block, as you say, and you should do a better job of representing the block on other streams. What you do in your house is your business, but you're not gonna come to my house and disrespect my house. And that's the one thing that I said inside of, well, what I was trying to say inside of Frank's stream was that listen, and because like right now, I'm able to focus on what's happening in the chat because there's not that many people. But by the same token, the chat's not really for me. You all are spending more time communicating with one another while you're listening to me, and I can chime into the points or not. So I need for folks inside of the chat to be respectful to one another. And when you swoop in hollering at the host or at the chat,
Right.
you're out of pocket. That's just,
Hmm.
and someone has to say that. And I think that that's the thing that we forget about the internet. When someone is saying something on their platform, it's their house. They're going to say it the way that they do in their house. We accept that. When we come into their house, we respect their house. When you go home, you can talk all the stuff you want to about what you saw at my house. But you're going to do it from your house. You're not going to stand.
Right.
That's the part. You understand? We forgot
Hmm.
that part somehow. And I think we need to do more of that. But folks aren't out here defending their platforms out of fear that they're going to lose some money. Nah, this is my house. That's how I move. You're gonna
So
respect this space or go away.
and that's another thing, like you're saying, that I say things on.
Oh, I lost you.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my apologies. I was saying, I say things on other people's platforms that I don't, well, not say things so much, but talk about like subjects, topics, because that's their topic on their platform, and I would never have those topics on my platform, or
Mm-hmm.
hardly ever. And that being said, even when I'm on other people's platforms, I'm still on code from the perspective of what you just said. I'm not going to do anything over here that I wouldn't do at home. I'm not going to come and try to mess up anybody else's space, like you're saying, whether it's swooping into the comments with caps, with words against anyone, disrespecting people in the chat or on the panel.
Yeah.
It's just not the way. In especially in seriousness, like I joke a lot. I'm really lighthearted with pretty much most of the conversations I have, but so I'm saying that because I'm saying if I'm talking about someone on the panel, it's going to be in jest. It's not going to be in all seriousness.
Yeah.
And so that being said, yeah, it really comes down to personal accountability, and the realness of it is that not everyone has the same standards because of their upbringing, because of their input. They don't see it the same. Like in the chat right now, they're saying, "Oh, we couldn't say lie," or "We could say lie." You know,
Mm-hmm.
as a child, we could say lie. But once I realized other kids could not say lie, it made me think about when I said the word. So it made me accountable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so that's the thing. It's like when you know better, folks, let's just do better.
Yep. Exactly. I'm gonna go for about another 20 minutes until 2 hours and 15. So, oh my gosh, what? Okay, y'all, change your plans. We're gonna do whatever comes next when y'all see
What
what I
happened?
got. Wait. You gotta wait for it.
Stop the show.
You gotta wait. Exactly. We gotta put a flag on the play, a pause, trash can waves. Get your lighters up. Y'all get ready.
Hey.
Everybody ready? Coming to the stage. Adrian Nash. Adrian, you gotta unmute yourself.
I can, and I still have camera issues. Wait,
That's
let me.
okay.
Is that? I think.
Look at Miss. Hey, let me take this dog. Frank, your comment is great, honey, but let's go and see that face. Look at there. What? It's
Hey,
Miss
Adrian.
Adrian in the
So you can
building.
see all my imperfections, my hyperpigmentation,
It's yours, and we love you
my
for it. We love
look,
you with it.
my lion's mane.
I'm so glad to see you up here. Thank you so much.
Good morning.
Good morning, beautiful. How's your spirit?
Resilient and tenacious as always.
I know, and that tenacious part, child. I love it. I swear I do.
As always.
All right, so I was going to get ready to get off, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell a story, and then I want you and Quita to address the concept behind it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So when dealing with the military, have you all ever heard of something called stolen valor?
Something about that is familiar.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So stolen valor is the idea that, and I think that these people have a good intent. They're just patriots who didn't get their own shot or whatever. But these are people who will go out and represent themselves as members of the military or former members of the military, having had no military training at all, or didn't make it in basic or AIT, washed out at some point. But they will go out, they'll buy a uniform, they will put on all of the medals, all of the things, dress up, and then go to events and receive awards and speaking engagements, take advantage of discounts and benefits for veterans,
Hmm.
all under the ruse, all this lie that they're not actually veterans, right?
Right.
And who holds them accountable? Who checks them? Real veterans, right? Real folks who went out there, put their lives on the line, real patriots who every day did this thing, who got up and fought and lost someone or whatever. And I wish that the black community behaved like that when it came to our valor, when it came to our honor. I wish that we would stop people like the Jins of the world and the Christina Aguileras, no offense in this case. But you understand what I'm saying? Those people who are not truly of our culture, who are not truly us. We have to stop them. You can't imitate us. You have not you your people were not dragged behind a truck. Your people were not hanged from a tree. Your people did not have these experiences. It's not okay for you to use that word. It's not okay for you to move as if you did. That's how I see it. But I would like you ladies' perspective and the chat as well. Either you can go first, Adrian, since you're already unmuted.
So I have seen where, the deaconesses in the churches and the deacons in the church and various community leaders, in the community in which I have grown up have checked or attempted to check unacceptable behavior. I've seen that in my lifetime. Um, you know, my perception is that people are going to be people. Everybody doesn't have the same values. And so, if you get checked, there's the possibility that there's going to be some pushback.
Indeed.
Um, so yeah, yeah, I've seen that. Like, an example that comes to mind specifically right now is the whole um, Monique checking the sisters about wearing their bonnets in the street. And there's a lot of, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And so, there's a lot of like back and forth about that. I mean, I don't think it's appropriate to wear a bonnet in the street, but, you know, apparently this is a cause for discourse and discord
Well,
wearing a bonnet in the street or
isn't
not.
that isn't that because we haven't set a standard, because we are going through an identity crisis, as the description says? Like, we don't, no one has set a set of values or standards, and when I say that I stand on one and this is how I move, I am the one looked at as wrong, right? My
Sure,
community looks at me as like, oh, well, you just think you're better than us. I don't. I set
sure.
a set of standards, and it got me to where I wanted to be in life. When I was 16, I said that I wanted to have my children early, and I wanted this outcome. I got that outcome through intention, through effort, which is what the lead attorney talked about, through these things. But we're not being intentional about stopping the abuse of our culture and towards our culture. How do we do that?
I mean, this is going to sound cliche. I'd say that it starts at home, but if the house is rotten, like, where do you really start from? I don't have an answer, JP.
I'm with
I
you,
can.
Adrian. I'm with you. It's like you. The reason why you don't have an answer is because there's nothing else. You just said it. Like really, I don't think we have to go through any big equation to figure out, okay, let me see if I throw in X and Y, a little bit of spice and sauce. No, it starts at home. you know, like you said, like it's pretty simple. And I think we keep complicated or making it difficult, um, so that we can give each other a pass to do what they're doing for a longer period of time until they figure it out and until they get it together. So it's like, come on, just do better when you know better. Once you find out, and a lot of us have found out, but we refuse to listen. You know, we're like, oh, I mean, so and so said that, felt like, okay, but if so and so said that, who else is also saying it? This is not just that person's opinion. If so and so said we shouldn't wear a bonnet, why shouldn't we? Question it. Look at who else is wearing a bonnet. Who else is not wearing a bonnet? You know, if your mama was going out wearing a bonnet, but all the other mamas weren't. Like I said, we could say lie, but all the other kids could not say lie. So
Hmm.
that's why I had to look at it and say, oh, it starts from everybody's home. But we just don't want to do that. We don't want to really look at the truth of the matter, which is we have to be accountable. I told y'all I don't want to be accountable, but I have to. I got to face it.
That's the thing, we just seem to have gotten away from accountability. And I guess my goal moving forward, each time that I go onto someone else's stream or I have one of my own, is to not only be accountable to myself, to have the community be accountable to me, but more to make sure that I am putting out solutions or trying to find or have conversations about solutions. We all know the problems. We all see them. Like I said, I don't want to be out here trolling. I do not want to clout chase, but I want us to have the conversations that are truly important. These are examples that can be used. I'm not picking apart a specific person. I'm picking apart the behavior that I see because it's prevalent in our community. Um, I just, as everybody in this stream, if they will just go back to their own home or their own home community today and be somebody else's community space for the day. That's it, right? In one of my videos, the George Floyd vigil, I said 2 minutes and 54 seconds. So all I'm asking y'all to do today is find somebody in your community you don't normally talk to. Make sure that they look like you. If you're brown, if you're black, Make sure they look like you. If you're not black and you happen to be watching this video, I appreciate you just as much. Find you a black person today, though, and go talk to them. Give them 2 minutes and 54 seconds, 3 minutes of your time to find out about them, who they are, what they despise. Just hear them. Don't you dare try to say anything about you other than what your name is, right? Let them say their piece, accept it, and then walk away. Try that. Give them a little bit of space and grace. Should we acknowledge three spaces which come with? Yeah, Scorpion, all the time. When we have a conversation with someone, and I'll give you an example. My neighbor upstairs, someone sound, I think that might be you, Adrian. I'm going to mute you for a second. Nope. Yep. Okay. My neighbor upstairs, and a neighbor I had before, young people, one Hispanic, one a white girl. Both of them used the N word in my presence, and I was like, "Excuse me, I think that have we met? Does it seem like something I'm okay with?" Well, all the black people around them had allowed it to happen, all the times before. That's how they grew up. I get that, and I'm sorry that those people allowed you to believe that that's okay, but it's not, and here's why it's not. We grew up in a similar environment, right? And you think that that's okay, but we didn't have the same issues, right? Go ahead, Adrian.
So do you recall me asking Darius? Darius? I think it's Darius on Frank's Stream. In his opinion, what did Jen's accountability look like? And not that she would be willing to like placate his accountability model, but what does that look like to you? And I found his response to be very interesting. And I went back over and reviewed it a couple of times, and it seemed like he had the expectation that she go and apologize to the entire chat for offending them. I don't think that was a reasonable expectation. There was something like, I don't know, 600, 800, 900 people in the chat. And if you've ever read the chat can be quite vitriolic, nasty, mean-spirited, woman bashing, and such what.
Yes. Okay. So again, you have a little bit of static in the background, so I'm gonna mute you, but I got you. Okay. First of all, hey LEJJ, thank you so much for stopping by. Feel free to rewatch it, but yes, stay put. I'm not going away just yet. I don't think that it was unreasonable, Adrian, at all. And here's why. As Darius also said, you were not invited to this space. You came to this space. You came to this space, you got offended and triggered. But this is our space. Our house. If you don't like the way we move in our house, don't come to our house. Right? If you didn't like the way that we moved the first time, the second time, the third time, right? Then you want to come back and tell me how to behave in my house. But more to the point, putting all of those things aside, someone has to bring down the level so that we can continue to have conversations and talk to one another. Why couldn't that be Jen? Why couldn't she go back to that platform and say, hey, I may have moved in a way that was unacceptable. Here's the things that I actually meant, and here's the things that was just emotion, and take those things out. Go ahead, Adrian.
So this might sound a bit arrogant, but I command respect wherever I am. And if I don't feel like I'm being respected, if I feel like I'm being disrespected, then I'm out. And that's just on period. I'm not going to tolerate it. Okay. There was a situation, not entirely identical, but I went to my parents' son's house.
What'd I tell you about that?
He is not my brother. We will never reconcile. So let me just be very clear.
I
Let me be very clear.
you can feel all the contention. That's
So
all I'm
that
saying.
being said, I went to my parents' son's house, okay, and his child was disrespectful to me.
Hmm.
Now, I put her over my knee. She was like 6 at that point. I put her over my knee. I swatted her butt twice. And I told her in the presence of her father that I am your aunt and you will respect me no matter where we are. If I'm in your house or what you feel is your house, if we are in the streets, if we are in the church, if we are in the bathroom, you are never to speak to me that way.
Why does she owe you that? What did you do that she owes you that? Why does she owe you that level of respect? What did you do in her life that she owes you that level of respect? Don't tell me about your age or who you were born into.
I'm going to have to really think about that to give you a substantive answer at that juncture. I mean, certainly there have been, since that time, there have been other things that I've done for her, sacrifices that I've made for her, but at that juncture, what I'll say is I'm demanding respect simply for who I am.
Hmm. Okay, so
I
pause. We
don't
say,
feel
I
like,
wanna,
go
you
ahead,
I
said
Queen.
wanna,
what?
add, yeah, I wanna add something right there too, because I feel like part of the reason why Adrian is like, wait a minute, what? Let's see how do we answer this is because that's a part of the general code that I speak of. It's not even a question of if somebody's older than you, the general code is for a lot of black families, the general code is you don't say certain things, you don't do certain things. It's respect. So it's the
Hmm.
same thing going back to the stop sign. We all stop at the stop sign. We're not even sure why. Some of us know why because you might run it and get hit. That's the reason. So also there are other reasons. It's respectful to other drivers. So there's a general level of respect that human nature gives to each other, that flowers give to each other, that trees give to each other. The big trees in the forest, they shade and nurture the small trees. It's just a level of respect. And as a result, the small trees grow up and they take it and they get big and they all communicate, blah, blah, blah. You know? So it's the same thing when we come down to people, and it shouldn't have to be really based on race and all of that. When it comes down to it, it's another person. It's general
And
respect.
this
That's
is
why
the
you don't
thing.
get out your car and hit somebody's car door with your
Thank
car
you,
door.
Peter. Thank
Yes,
you.
but this is where we have the issue, right? Because you understand that part, Adrian, that there is just a certain level of respect to it. But you know what all of those big mamas and aunties did back then that y'all don't do today? No, I'm not saying you specifically in general. Show up. They were there in those children's lives all the time. They were
Right.
there everyday members of those children's lives. That's
And
why
I
they
was one
had
of
that
those
level of
aunts.
respect.
I was one
Oh,
of those, or I am one of those aunts.
okay.
So, and don't be, she had this horrible, like the rubbernecking and the cutting of the eyes, and excuse me, this is unacceptable behavior. Stop twisting your neck around like a bobblehead when you speak to me. Unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. I will say this though. You putting your hands on her as your first line of approach is too.
So you know
I,
I'm with Adrian though, because I lay
I
hands. But okay,
no
I'm a
no
mute.
yeah. Y'all not gonna like what I had to say next, so you might want to mute
Mm,
until I'm done. I can accept that. If you put your hands on your child, you are their first bully. You have to determine that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about swatting a hand because they're reaching for fire or an electrical outlet. Those things happen. What I'm talking about is that the moment that they test your power, in this case, you reach
mm.
for spanking somebody. What does that tell them? If somebody tests your power, hit them. These are small people. They don't think in nuances like we do. I tested
Ooh,
you, you hit me. You're a bully. You're like everybody else. What role do you want to play in that child's life? That's the thing that we don't get down to.
I
We
keep
remember how
saying,
we were, hold on. We remember how we were parented and we think, oh, it made me this, 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 and this. We forget about all the
mm,
hard things that we went through as a result of those spankings, all of the thoughts that we had about our parents and what was going on in that moment. It matters
mm,
because we also expect our children to trust us and have faith in us and come to us with anything. If I come to you in defiance and you spank me, if I come to you with something that I'm unsure about, what am I going to get? So why am I going to come to you? Do you understand? We're not we're not we're not providing the space for them to trust us in that way. Things are different. The children are more aware now and understand things about themselves. They're being taught so much more, which is a good thing. But we have to change our parenting as a result. We can't keep talking about, well, my mama and daddy spanked me and I came out all right. Let's be honest. You didn't. You walk around with a whole lot of traumas and issues that you don't know how to communicate. You can get that out of your children if you can stop trying to be like your parents, take the good things and throw away the negative, and then keep moving. Let them be innocent. I'm gonna get off my high horse though. Go ahead, ladies.
so I overly simplified the scenario point of information. So
Okay.
my swatting her butt twice was not the first line of defense.
Okay.
So just as a point of information. Um, but yes, thank you, Krita, for helping me with my words. Yes, I think that people are due a general amount of respect just for being human beings. And that's just the way that I see it.
I'm in agreement with you there, Adrian. I think the problem is that we forget to see children as people and we don't give them
Oh,
that
not at
level of
all.
respect. I'm not talking about you in general, you personally. I'm saying
Mm,
in general, we tend
mm,
to treat children as if they're just there. They're just present, like dogs, like pets. You know what I mean? They come and go when we need them. We acknowledge them when we feel like it, and that's about it. And that's how our children behave and move as a result of what it is that we do. Me, for example, I'd be in the grocery store with my kid, my children. I don't like the term kids, with my children, and someone would bump into my child. I would stand between my child and that person, and I would tell my child, "Baby, I'm sorry. Some adults don't have the home training to respect children's space." Right? There has to be. We have to address that in that moment. Was it passive aggressive? Possibly. I could have told that person just to look out for my child. But I need my child to understand that people aren't always going to see you. And even if they do, they're not going to care that they see you. But we need to do better about seeing them as people and then remembering that they have no agency over their lives and giving them the
mm.
space to be innocent, giving them the space to be children who make mistakes, and giving them more opportunities than not before we put their hands on them because society is always trying to get their hands on them.
Agreed. I concur.
Yeah, I have something to add there too,
Yes, ma'am.
because I'm with Adrian. I don't lay hands as far as the first line of defense, but here's an example of how I do it. If I'm out, let's say the little girl at camp, right? When when I'm telling the little girl that's trying to cry the crocodile tears and pretend like she's hurt, she tries to leave. And Adrian, I don't know if you heard this story, but they're in line about to come into the space. The person, whoever's behind somebody, stepped on the person in front of her. The person in front of her is like, ouch. And the person who stepped on her gonna try to start crying so she can get the attention. And I'm like,
Mm,
and I'm telling her, no, no, that's not what we're doing. So she tries to go somewhere to pout or sit down, and in other words, make sure that the attention is on her. Hold on a second, Christiana, that's the wrong one. Come back. That's Coco's. Anyways, sorry.
Hmm?
So she tried to go somewhere, and when I say I lay hands, I took her by the arm, and not took her, but just put my hand on her arm so that she knew stay here. And I do that often. If I'm talking to kids, I put my hand on their shoulder, I hold them by the arm, and not hold them gripping them or anything. But
Mm-hmm.
when you touch people, they pay attention. And we know this because, like you said, somebody bumping into your child. I'm not a person of words because to me that's bullying to say to another adult or and so that they can hear, oh, some people don't respect people or the children or whatever the way you
Hmm.
might have said it. So for me, that's bullying, because I feel like, well, all of the communication that we're doing can be seen as bullying, and so it's just really a matter of how we're going to handle it. So, like you're saying, the way you, even though you use those words, you might have said it in a playful way or a lighthearted way, or you might have said it in a mean way. But my point is, depending on
I
how
mean,
you say it, the delivery is what it is. But it does have to, you have to address things. So whether that's a swat on the behind, we're not beating our kids to death. And at a very young age, you do certain things so that they know that, okay, let me stay safe. Let me not do certain things because if I say that in the workplace, that might cost me my job the way I'm bringing my neck to my aunt. But anyways,
yes.
go ahead.
No, I would like to be real clear. There was no doubt, no hesitation. I'm one of them mamas. If you come for one of the Hillians, I'm coming for that. That's that full stop. I'm letting you know up front you do not want to test me. If you bump into my babies, that's about as much as you gonna get. Outside of that, you gonna come in contact with the alpha female in me, and that's the only time she comes out. Two places: in my management positions and as a mother. I will hunt you down, stalk you down if I have to, in order to keep you from ever messing with them hill boys. You feel me? It, full stop. Put it on a T-shirt if you want to, because nobody will ever forget you. When no one will ever tell you that I don't fight for mine, and so yeah, in that moment, I not like I said, it was passive aggressive and it was bullying. But hey, you 40, I'm 40, he's 6. Let's do this. Just my two
Right.
cents. I think that more mothers should behave that way when it comes to their children, instead of acting like, oh well, that's life. They gonna run into this. They gonna run into that. It's the parents that I'm truly concerned about aren't the ones who are right here, the aunties who are right here. It's the parents who are out there. Um, like there's this woman out there right now on. I look up J.R. Wisdom. On his page, he's got a mother and a daughter up there, and the mother is telling her daughter that her daughter is the child of a crackhead mama and a something else. And then the daughter
Right.
goes on to call her mama this, that, and the third, and her daddy a this, that, and the third. And they have an entire conversation back and forth about it on her Instagram live. This is my problem. This is what I'm trying to just. This is why I'm putting
Wow.
my face out here, because I am not that type of mother. I was not. And I know that there are plenty of mothers out there who are like me, who just need to be represented. And so until they can stand up for themselves in this space, I'll stand up and show my face, because this is not how we move. What they got out here now that they're parading around is us. That's not us. The folks with these Instagram lives, just because you can give a broken clock a god doggone smartphone, it's gonna be right twice a day. She gonna be able to get on there twice a day and share this nonsense with the world. We have to be there to combat it every day. That's
But, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. It's just a matter of this is where we are. This is what they allow. Like, okay, let's talk about the silliness of what you just talked with the example you just gave. How is it that we can be that page is not shut down, a daughter and mom disrespecting each other publicly, but they're shutting down other pages um, for way less. So this is where I'm saying, yeah, it's all our individual accountability that has to come forth, but it's also where we are with this whole mainstream life. We
yeah.
are in a place where they allow certain things, they shut down other things, which tells people what to move forward with. It tells people. So everybody that was watching, everybody that saw that, and I know what you're speaking of was with Dr. T. Hassan Johnson and J.R. Wisdom. They both
Mhm.
have a lot of insightful content that makes you just say, dog, we have to do better. But at the same time, they're doing the work of, and you're doing the work of, a lot of us are doing the work of bringing attention to it. But unless these platforms are going to cut it out, and you have to take your stuff underground somewhere, like to A BB Toomey is currently a black-owned alternative to YouTube. It's a black space created by a black man. A Beanie Toomey TV is what it is. How many of us know about it?
None.
Not a whole lot. And guess what? They would not allow that sort of thing to be aired on a BB Toomey TV because they're about, nope, you're not bringing nonsense here. But when you have mainstreams allowing nonsense, but they're cutting out other stuff, like I was watching a stream one time and there was a little girl saying things and somebody flagged it. The video ended. Next thing I know, we was watching the lady playing a grand piano, and I'm thinking, did I just do drugs? Like, what happened? You know what I mean?
That's the
So
way
it's
it should be, though.
What?
that's my point. Though they're taking down one thing, leaving up another. And when I say they, I'm always talking about, the top industries. All these folks who are up at the top together,
Yeah.
managing what is said and what is not said. Like I said, anytime you're going to moderate how you can say a
Curse
four-letter
words.
word instead of eliminating it, yeah, they perpetuating it.
Right. As long as we argue over the use of the N word amongst ourselves, it's going to stay out here on YouTube. As long as we do these things to ourselves, they'll always have an argument for, well, it's not offending everybody. So, you know what I mean? They'll continue to do it. Quita, can you put the link into the private chat for, or the information, a website for that, the other, the gentleman's
Yes,
site that you were talking about so that I can post it
yes,
in the,
I
thank
will.
you.
I'll put it in.
Yes. Also, if anybody has Frank's email address who's up here, if y'all can drop that in the private chat, because I tried to use the link and it didn't work. Um, I'm trying to get other creators connected on Discord so that some of the things that we have to talk about how slow we're trying to learn this process, don't have to take up video space or content space with you all, subscribers, and in my case, citizens. I don't think of y'all as subscribers. I'm going to say that again. You're citizens. Y'all walk through this life the same way that I do. The same way that my pain is hidden just because you can't see what happens with fibromyalgia. I know that each and every one of you is going through your own thing, and all you're trying to do is find your peaceful space in all of this. The reason that I'm here is because I know that the way to thrive is in order to be positive. If you put compassion and positivity out into the world, it's what you'll get back. And we try to do that. You all have come through so much for me in this space already. Like I said, I haven't been out here these last 3 days. Someone has attempted to either put a theme song down, repost one of my videos, create my content over again in order to be able to keep me out there. And so I appreciate you guys for that. Um, there's not a whole lot more that I can really say on that part, except that without you all, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have a reason to do it. I get up because seeing you all show up for me, for each other, seeing Sophia Sharif put her avatar up there instead of just a letter. Those are all amazing things, and it's all because we come together for one another. If we can do this right here and we can grow this and do it purposefully, then we can do it in the real world. We can do it with our children, friends, and family. And that's my biggest goal. I'm going to give this about another 3 more minutes for everybody to wrap up their comments. I truly appreciate you all being here. I sound like O'Shea DJ. I've been watching too many of his videos, bruh. I think we all have at this point. Thank you, Frank. I missed the 2 in it. That's what it is. So I will make sure that I take care of that today and resend that email. Thank you, Peter, for giving us that information. I would say if we can all go over there and check out his app and it's something that we can use, we should try to put it into practice, even if we just stream through there over here, whatever the case may be. Support any black businesses, people, folks, friends, family, creators that you can. Hey, if you love my content, feel free to, like it, share it, whatever. Just give a girl a shout out. If you recreate my content, at least say that you thought about me when you started it. That's all that I ask. That's how we help and grow one another. But I'm going to leave the space open to Quita and Adrian to say a few things before I go ahead and close up. So we'll start with Adrian since her mic's already open.
Oh, I would be interested in continuing some dialogue with you about your cultural appropriation commentary. Because I asked you in the chat if you thought that Tina Marie was culturally appropriating. Tina Marie was white, wasn't she?
I'm pretty sure Tina Marie was full on white girl. And so,
Okay,
in some regards, I do feel that way.
okay.
Again, I think that inviting folks into our, I've been asked several times, do I believe that we should allow other cultures into our community as we try to figure out what it is that we're doing?
Mm,
Yes and no. I feel like we start at the beginning amongst just ourselves. We have got to get to know and trust each other. We got to learn to communicate just amongst ourselves. And then after that, we need to start to incorporate the family reunion family members, right? If the family
mm,
reunion family members happen to include some whites and some Mexicans and some whatever else, then that be the case. But first, we got to
mm.
deal with the folks who always at the barbecue, and then we deal with the family reunion, and then we deal with the diaspora. And
Okay.
so,
Did you have the opportunity to see any of Dr. Gates's um, video series yet? The
no,
Black
not
in
yet.
Latin America? Oh,
Uh,
God is dead. It's great.
I'm gonna do it this weekend. It's one of the things that I'm gonna work on today. I when I'm not on, one of the things is that I have to take very high doses of the of medications, and so I'm not functional. Well, I mean, it's not something that I'm willing to put myself on the internet during that time because I'm not. I'm responsible for every word that I say, and I do not. I don't ever want to have to come back and be like, "Oh, I was medicated," and said, "Nope." I just take those days off. So if I can't get up and do it with as clear a mind as possible, then I won't. But so yeah, I'm gonna check them out this
I think
weekend and
you'll
try to
enjoy
see.
it. I think it will be very enlightening. It was for me when I first saw it, when
Yeah.
it
Now
first came
Darius,
out all those years ago. Hmm?
I remember Darius saying that he didn't care for it, so I'm gonna have to see. Or he may have been
Okay.
talking about something else in the chat, but I'm certainly gonna check it out. But I really do appreciate you for coming out, and you came on my stream with your. She came
With
with
my
the hair
matriarch.
out. Look at you. I
I need my
appreciate.
matriarch in my life.
You are welcome to her anytime. Listen, for a nominal fee, I'll go ahead and I'm saying anything that I can do to help my younger sisters along. You know, I've been there. You know, I've had to put up my defenses in order to get through life. I've had to, I've looked at things from just my perspective before I ever saw anybody else's. So I'm not speaking from a space of not knowing. And I think I haven't been that far removed, so I can certainly understand, what it takes to be able to get through there. So together, maybe we'll come up with some things that we can make permanent for all of our people and have a better outcome. Yeah,
I
that's my
love
goal.
it. Yes,
Thank you.
please.
Thank you. Quita, you got anything else for me, sis? I appreciate you dropping that in the chat.
Yes, I will finish with the same old stuff. Y'all do better for yourselves, and it'll rub off on other people. And when I say y'all, anybody, all of us, the general public, you know what I mean? We've seen change in people, but the change comes a lot slower than the influences come. So that's why we just all have to really stay on it.
Yeah.
Um, I commend you for what you're doing with Discord. I'm not familiar with Discord, so that'll be great, to work on that, and to move forward with that. So that way, all of the conversations are out there so that when somebody is ready to make a change or do something different, try something new, they'll have a place with good information to come to. That's
Yeah.
what I find is that yes, uh, I'm laughing at trash can waste,
Uh
but
huh.
yes.
Yeah. My goal
So
is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, that's it.
Okay.
Just we all, I guess, darn it, have to be accountable.
Yes. My goal is to have Discord be like the Negro Creator Library, where you can go and find the access to the things you need in order to get ahead with creating your content on whatever platform it is. Also, if it's somewhere where we can just stream everybody, uh, have a schedule of everybody's things so that we can all stay together and make sure that we're helping each other move forward. Anything that I can do to get that started. I'm not worried about my own growth. Like I said, when you've gotten to the point where you've considered certain things, if you're still here later, it's no longer about you. It becomes about your bare minimum requirements being met, and then getting other people ahead and seeing that growth and goals and those kinds of things. So, but that's the main thing. I appreciate you guys again. Like I said, Quita, you guys always shout me out. Thank you so much. It'll be a long time before it goes monetized. So, like I said, I got 64 watch hours though. So you guys have been fantastic. I appreciate that, and I don't know how, but I appreciate you all. Feel free. The links are below. Check out the Ko-fi. Buy me a coffee. And then I will be back tomorrow at same time, same channel, different discussion. I may have to consider going ahead and doing that cultural appropriation thing so that I can get Adrian back up here, cammed up 2 days in a row. Ooh, child, fantastic. Anyway,
Hey.
thank you guys so much for stopping into the stream, and I will see you out here in these YouTube streets. Keep your spirit up, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you so much.